Hi there, Mickey Mankus here, and welcome to Out the Back Door. Today I want to show you how to can bacon. Yes, you heard me right, bacon. So come join me. I've got many packages of thick cut bacon here that we had gotten when we got our pig. And to save on freezer space, because I'm really limited, I decided I am going to can it. Now, there's several different ways of canning bacon. If you do your research online and such, some par cook it, some pack it raw. I guess it all depends on how you like it, but I'm going to show you the way that I'm going to do it. For starters, I am going to par cook it. I've got my oven set at 350 degrees right now, and I'm going to lay my bacon out individually on my sheets here, and I'm going to bake it for a while. So it's about halfway done, and then that way we're going to start the canning process. So when I told the butcher I wanted thick, he did give me thick. That's pretty awesome. By pre-cooking it somewhat, par cooking, it's actually going to give you a little bit more of a crisper bacon once we pull it out of the jar after it's canned. And I can all sorts of meats. So this is just another way of preserving food. And also when I take the bacon out, I tilt my tray so that the grease will run down to one end. And I do save my bacon grease because then I cook with it. All right, that's one tray down. If you're going to do like regular sliced bacon, so it's not thick, if you pick it up from the grocery store when it's on sale, you're gonna probably be able to get more slices in per quart jar. If you want to do pints, that's fine, but I'm going to be doing quart jars today. Make sure that you use wide mouth so that you can get the bacon in and out easily. Ways to use your canned bacon is with your eggs for breakfast, on sandwiches, BLTs, that type of thing. You can also use it in hot dishes. Anywhere that you'd normally use bacon, you can use this. Some of the bigger hunks that are just a little bit odds and ends, I may do one jar where it's just bits and pieces. I might cut this up into smaller things. But then I can use this when I cook up greens, or if I'm going to make like a bean and ham soup, this will add a little bit more flavor to it. These are some like big pieces of bacon. And the only reason I'm wearing gloves, as I've mentioned in some of my other videos, it's just easier for me to clean up, that's all. Especially when I'm working with meat, greasy meats. A lot of bacon in the freezer right now that I had bought while it was on sale at the grocery store. And even though that's considered thick slice, it's probably half this. So I can that up at a different time. I'm getting a little bit picky here. I took the larger pieces off of the trays that I was going to cook up right away because I think I will do a jar of bacon bits. Let's see if we can get last. There we go. Okay, so I've got these trays filled. I'm going to get them in the oven. Generally for this really thick bacon, I bake mine at 350 for almost a half an hour. Sometimes a little bit longer. I'll check on it just so that it gets a little more crisp. So I'm probably going to set it in the oven for about 15 minutes to bake. Like I said, it depends on if you have super thick cut bacon or thinner sliced. That's going to determine how long you want to actually bake it. You don't need it fully cooked because the canning process is going to finish that up. So I'm going to pop these in the oven. I'm going to continue loading trays up so the next batch is ready to go in, and then I'll be right back. I've got a lot of odds and ends that I'm going to be chopping up, and I'll can those in a separate jar so I've got bits and pieces. But you may be asking, why would a person want to can bacon? Why not? For the amount of bacon that I have, it takes up a lot of freezer space, and I don't have that luxury. So Another option is I'm going to can the bacon so I can keep it in the pantry. Also, it's cooked to the point where all you have to really do is warm it up when you want to use it. You don't have to go through the greasy splatter mess of cooking it from its raw state. So this is why I'm doing that. You can use it in so many different recipes also right out of the jar. You can chop it up and put it in hot dishes, salads, anything like that. You can just warm it up and eat it like you normally would with eggs or on a BLT. You know, there's a lot of different ways that you can use this bacon. Also, as far as storage and not taking up freezer space, when bacon's on sale, it's an ideal time to stock up on it. And that way, when you're putting up things like this and canning it, you're actually saving money because down the line, prices of groceries just keep going up. Okay, my first batch of bacon just came out of the oven. And like I said, being it's so super thick, it's partially cooked. I had it in there for 25 minutes. So depending on the type of bacon that you're putting in there, the thickness and everything, just pay attention. You don't need to fully cook it. I am going to set these on a cooling rack just so that they drain a little bit more. I have the second batch in the oven cooking right now. All right, as you can see, I've got a jar that I've been putting my grease into. Maybe I only need one pan, one hot mitt. Okay, I want to give a shout out to Stephanie, one of my viewers. You like my strainer? Vintage. Yeah, just like me. Anyway, I don't throw anything away. And they don't make things like they used to either. So anyway, I just plopped that in my wide mouth jar and I'm going to strain my bacon grease into there. And I'll do that with the other pans that I had just taken out also. But anyway, my second batch is in the oven right now. I've set the timer for another 25 minutes because like I said, my bacon was that thick, it was taking that long. So just keep an eye on your bacon. Bacon, bacon, bacon! Okay, sorry. It smells so good, I'm hungry. I've got my third load of bacon in the oven already, 3 pans. And I've got a little bit left to do. Actually, it's going to work out well. I'll have a full total of 12 pans of bacon cooked up that I'm going to be using. Right now, I've just got the smaller pieces, and I'm just going to kind of put these in bigger chunks, and I'll put those on the last pan here. And I'll put these into a separate jar as bits and pieces that I can use, like I said, in hot dishes, cooking it with greens, different things like that. I was calculating the packages that I had a total of 12 pounds if they were 1 pound packages, which I believe they were. And we've already eaten some of this bacon. I do like it because it's got a sweet flavor to it. It's not over salty, and it's got a nice sweet bacon flavor. I don't know what they use for the smoking, but I really do like it. So if you're not aware of why I'm not fully cooking the bacon, is because we're going to need to fold it to get it into the jar. And so please don't overcook your bacon or it's going to be crumbling, cracking, and all that. See, these pieces, I'm just big chunks, no big deal. This is going to lend some really good flavor to whatever I'm cooking up. Alright, I had said earlier that there was 12 pounds of bacon. Actually, I had 13 here. I've kind of noticed I have a bad habit of not putting my apron on when I'm working with greasy things. So, yeah. Anyway, what our next step is, we're going to be using parchment paper. Not wax paper, but parchment paper. And what I've done is I've cut out a piece approximately 20 inches long I also cut another piece 20 inches long that's in half. I'm going to show you why I did that. All right, I'm going to start laying out my bacon, and I'm going to leave it about one inch from the very edge here. I'm going to line it up on the very end. And I'm just going to fit my bacon as well as it'll line up together. Some of my pieces are odds and ends. Being this was a homegrown pig, it isn't a symmetrical sizes of bacon that I had purchased. And once I get these canned up and everything and they've cooled off, what I'm going to do is actually open up a jar to show you what it's like. Maybe I can use my husband as a guinea pig to try some out. All right, being my bacon is so thick, I'm only going to be able to get maybe 9 or 10 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, I've got 11 in here. Let's see how it works. I do want to leave about an inch or so on the end here that I'm rolling into, because the bacon will kind of push towards that edge, and I want to make sure that I've got enough parchment paper. Okay, next I'm going to take the piece that I had cut in half, and I'm going to lay it towards the top here. Press that down. And now what I'm going to do is, all right, our bacon was on this edge. I'm going to fold it in half up to the top here. There we go. Okay, now that we folded that in, we're going to flop this half onto this half. There. So now our bacon pieces are sandwiched together, and they have a piece of the parchment paper in between. Now I'm going to start rolling it. You're going to roll it tight. Keep tucking and pulling your parchment paper in. You may be able to get quite a few more pieces of bacon in there compared to what I am. So now we've got a nice tight roll that looks like this. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm using quart-sized jars, wide mouth, because we need to get this in here. And I am going to twist to push it down in. It may have been easier if I had one piece of bacon less. Okay, now I drop down in. And I'm just going to tuck the remainder of the parchment paper down in top. Being we're doing meat, we want to have a 1-inch head space. That's why we're folding our bacon pieces in half, because it will allow us for that 1-inch head space. So this is what our jar of bacon is going to look like when we get ready to put our lids and our bands on and put it in the canner. All right, I'm cleaning off the rims with white vinegar to cut any grease that got on there when I was stuffing the bacon down in there. You want to make sure that your rims are extremely clean. I did end up with 9 quarts of bacon strips. And I've got 1 quart almost completely filled with bacon pieces. All right, we'll get our lids on next. Now I'm gonna put my lids on. I'm using my Tatler lids, my reusable lids. And if you're using metal, go ahead and do as you normally would when you're canning. I am pressure canning this. I am not water bath canning. And for quarts, I'm going to be pressure canning for 90 minutes. You do it according to your elevation. I'm going to be running mine at 10 pounds. As I always remind you, don't crank your bands down too tight. The purpose of them is to hold your lid down. Oh, I see, I forgot to put a lid on one. There we go. All right, my canner is hot, and now I'm gonna get my jars in there. I've got the canner loaded and the cover on and everything. What I'm doing is I'm going to bring it up to temperature now so it'll vent. I'm venting 10 minutes, as always recommended. And then once it's done venting, I'll put my 10-pound weight on. I'll let the pressure build up to the 10 pounds, and then I will start timing it. As a reminder, I use the quarts, and being we are canning meat, I will pressure can it for 90 minutes. I've got the jars of the bacon out of the canner now, and I'm going to let them sit until tomorrow morning before I check to make sure that they're sealed well. At the same time, I will open up 1 jar so we can see what the bacon actually looks like, and I'll taste it, and maybe I can get Mr. Mankus to try it too to see what his opinion is on it. I'm looking in the bottoms of the jars here. Some of them have maybe about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch at the most of fat. Considering I did remove this amount of fat earlier when I par cooked the bacon, I think we did pretty good here. Like I said before, I'll be using this for cooking yet, and we can do the same thing with any of this once we open it up. Plus, the parchment that you pull out of there and it's full of the fat is a really good fire starter. So I will come back and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Good morning. I'm going to take the bands off to make sure that all of these have sealed. And I'm actually going to test taste. I'm going to open up one of these jars and see how it is. Okay, this is actually how you test to make sure that your Tatler lid is sealed well. If you can gently lift it up, it has sealed. So all of our jars sealed. That's wonderful. Okay. And the next step I would do is I'm going to put them in warm soapy water and wash them up really well, and then I'd label them and put them in the pantry. All right. I grabbed the jar that had the least amount of bacon in it. It was my last jar that I did, and I didn't get a full roll out of it, so I'm going to pop this one open. Ooh, nice seal. All right. So we're going to pull this out. And there is some moisture in it yet. And that came from the meat. All right. We still have a little bit of juice in the bottom and some bacon grease. I can actually scrape that out and use it for frying my eggs that I'm going to have for breakfast now. All right, let's unwind this. All right, we've got some grease on the bottom of the paper here. And I'm going to use this paper later on to throw in the fire pit for a fire starter. Okay, and remember we folded it in half so we'd have longer pieces in here. Okay. Everything smells really good, smells like bacon. There, okay. So this is what we've got when I've unfolded it. I'm gonna take a little nibble before I warm it up. It's cooked well enough where you could just eat it like this, but there is still some grease and stuff on it. So what I'm gonna do when I do my eggs is I'm gonna warm up a couple of slices in the pan. All right. I definitely like this. Yes. Okay. The flavor is still wonderful. Full strength of a bacon taste. I have to have more. I do have more bacon in my freezer. Store-bought. I'll definitely be canning up bacon again. This is really good. Like I said, it's ready to use and everything right now. You don't have to cook it. All you have to do is warm it up or chop it up and throw it in your hot dish, salads, whatever you want. All right, as I said, I'm going to use some of the bacon grease that was in the bottom of the jar here that I opened up. And I've got my cast iron pan on a flame. It's sizzling because we still have a little bit of the bacon juice in it. I cut a piece of bacon in half because I'm not going to eat a whole lot. I'm just going to have one slice of bacon and a couple of eggs. And as I said, all I'm doing is warming it up. I don't have to actually cook it. Yes, you could do it in a microwave. I choose not to. There was probably enough fat in the bacon yet that I really wouldn't have had to add the additional fat to begin with. I guess it's just a habit. I'm used to just eating eggs and that's it. So, I've got a couple of farm fresh eggs here. I just pulled it out of the fry pan and it's sizzling up nice. I'm going to dab off the excess grease and hurry up and get my eggs frying. All right, so here we go. I've got my breakfast ready and it went super quick. I mean, within just a couple of minutes, I had bacon and eggs ready. I didn't have to take that extra time of frying up the bacon, so let's try this out. I always got a bite of eggs. Warming it up that little bit made it a little bit crispier. I'll definitely be canning bacon again. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, hit that notification bell, give me a thumbs up. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. I'd really like to hear from you. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. God bless. This is really good stuff. Actually, it could be dangerous. This will work for BLTs really well. Yep. Catch you later.